another conversation with another city partner. We have Kemba Hall representing Brooklyn Zoo. Yeah. So, like, you know, first off, like, what have you been doing on the Brooklyn side with this whole venture thing?
Yes. So I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. My family, we have a house in Canarsie. So for those who are local, they know that's called the Flossie. And I currently live close to the Brooklyn College area now on the Flatbush side. And so I recently moved back to Brooklyn after being in Delaware, where I got my undergrad and my master's degree in engineering at the University of Delaware. And so I have a founder background myself. And so when I came to back home, my expectation was that I would be able to leverage, you know, the hype of New York City. Right? Like everybody wants to be invested in, whether it's from SF or New York City, and I'm going, you know, back home, which is the hub for so many things. And so as a founder, I struggled a lot, surprisingly, right? There are a lot of angel groups, there are a lot of workshops. So I went to a lot of events that, you know, teach founders how to be a better founder, how to prepare for investing, how to know if you're VC backable, and just, you know, formal training on what that process really looks like when you want to go out and fundraise. And so I noticed that there were a lot of gaps in what it looked like to be a diverse founder trying to seek VC money, right? Like everybody wants to have VC money, right? So I did a lot of self-learning, a lot of humbling moments where I had to realize, you know, I have to do XYZ before I would be equipped and ready to go upon that venture lifestyle. And through that, I decided that I wanted to become a VC myself. And so within that space, I'm taking a lot of classes online. I'm going to a lot of local events, part of Luminary, which is a co-working space for women in New York City. They host a lot of events. I'm a part of, you know, different creative groups where I get to meet other entrepreneurs and learn about what they're building and how they're helping the community and stuff of that nature.
Yeah. So how has it been? How has the humbling process been? You come out the gate, you're a fireball, you're a bat out of hell, and
I was like, I'm VC backable. Like, why can't I get the money, right? No, I think it was humbling to realize that people work on their startups for years before they get any money, right? Like, it's, you know, you see some founders that out the gate, they're able to get 1.5 mil on their first round, and that's their friends and family round, right? And then you see others who had to bootstrap a lot and for years before they can really reach that traction level where they were getting the eyes from VC. So it was just humbling to see how much work is left to do, although I felt like I had worked so hard already on my precious startup, you know, and I was just like, well, what's next, right? Like, what's the next thing that I have to do to become VC backable, or to have VCs, you know, sliding into my DMs instead of me sliding into theirs? I wanted to position myself to network with them in a unique way, so it wouldn't be like when I needed to raise money, I'm meeting them for the first time, right? I wanted to figure out, well, where can I be where I'm in their community naturally, right? To figure out what that environment really looks like on the back end, and what not the way to do it than to become one myself, and to learn from them firsthand, right? Learn about what deals are on the table, learn about what they look for in founders, learn about what makes a great team, learn about, you know, what kind of return are VCs looking into, learn about how to get that first check from a VC, and also just learn about other opportunities and other ways to find funding as a first-time minority founder. So yeah.
So, and what's this timeline? Like, when was it that you went back to now?
Yeah, so I started HairSense. HairSense is the startup that I created back in 2019. That was when I first officially, you know, got the LLC and did all that kind of stuff. And HairSense is to connect beauty businesses that cater to the textured hair space and their consumers and beauty influencers through the use of data, so that way they can all get connected in the best way that, you know, seems possible for them. And I wanted to encourage virtual beauty experiences, and this was before COVID even happened, and that was really the plan. And so I graduated University of Delaware in 2019. And so I came back July of 2019, all my free time was really me going to all these events, networking, doing pitch competitions, and just trying to get myself out there. And that was when I realized, wow, like there are people who've been here for like 5 years and they're still doing this, right? So clearly I have a lot more work to do. And clearly it just takes time to build relationships. Like you can't just meet somebody 1 week and then next week expect them to invest in you, right? So a part of the humbling is realizing that I have to be patient. Yeah. And just learn from other founders and leverage them. It's a lot easier to leverage your network on the same level as you compared to like trying to level up, right? Because when you're on the same network playing field with folks, you can tap on their shoulder and find out who they know, and they can help you do those soft intros a lot easier than it is for me to like finding somebody on LinkedIn and just, you know, trying to figure out if they can help me out. Yeah. With COVID, it took away that in-person aspect of these events and workshops and networking and drinks and all that kind of stuff. Like that kind of went away for a period of time. And so I had to figure out, well, how else can I do that, right? How else can I network with founders, help founders, and be that advocating voice for other founders that look like me? And that was what I did through First Founders with my partner, Gary Johnson.
Would you say that COVID has been a positive or a negative for you? As far as I don't know, I guess you can say on some ends, it may have stalled things out, but it has to like force you to enhance other skills to kind of create workarounds.
I think depending on when you would ask me that question, I would have a different answer. I think now looking back, I mean, COVID, of course, horrible thing, right? But in terms of the light through COVID, I think it gave me a reset, right? I realized that I love people. I love helping people. That was why I wanted to be a founder in the first place. And because I had to figure out how to help people in a different way, it forced me to think outside of the box, right? It forced me to realize that I don't just have to stay within one place to leverage and to meet people. You know, I can talk to somebody in San Francisco and it's just the same thing, right? Like you could be anywhere in the world, right? Because of COVID, I actually got connected with the London startup scene, right? I was just up during their time zone and I was on Twitter. I sent a tweet and now I have friends in London, right? Like now I know VCs in London. And I don't think if I was so head down being on the ground in my own space, would I have naturally have done that, you know? Platforms like Clubhouse, like boomed because of COVID, right? Like people were at home looking for things to do, looking to stay connected, and platforms exactly like that did that. And so I was on Clubhouse. Like I made friends virtually. So I think COVID allowed me to network in a unique way, but still attract me to what's unique about being in like a space like New York City, right? Yeah. It's like I can put people on to what's happening here and they can still benefit virtually.
Yeah. It makes me think about like I'm a big believer in everything being the right timing. So like you're running around at that time looking for what you were looking for, weren't ready apparently. Maybe you thought you were ready, universe said you're not.
It humbled me. It said have a seat.
And now you're in this scenario where like you've had all that running around, you've built a grit, you started to create different workarounds, you've established a solid network, and now this opportunity presents itself via the Wefunder City Partners, and now it's like you're actually the perfect person for it because of that experience. And that's why I kind of wanted to talk to those timelines, because we have folks who have been doing it for years and years. 2019 to now isn't a long time, but there's a lot of folks that it just kind of shows them that things are going to keep coming your way. You're going to come back and people are going to be like, no, I'm not going to give you money. Correct. The world is going to literally fall apart. There are all these different things that are going to happen, but the one constant thing needs to be that you will not stop. You will continue to find those ways to make that happen, which is what's needed, because we're not talking about like this isn't just about you trying to raise money for yourself. This is about creating opportunities and understanding a pathway for a whole group of people that feel underrepresented, that have never received those opportunities, kind of like now having a solid roadmap because they have a positive point of reference by way of you. So now that this program is coming together, how are you looking to like, really sink your teeth in and get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I mean, my head is spinning because there's just so much that, you can do with an opportunity like this. On one side, there's a lot of education that needs to be done, right? Like, I don't think enough people, especially folks in this community, know about like the benefit of being on a platform like Wefunder. Like you can gain so much as like an investor, right? And I think being that voice to be able to advocate for others and still bring that education, like it's gonna trickle, right? Like the word of mouth is gonna do a lot of that pushing for me, right? Because it's something new, it's something exciting. And then I think in terms of infiltration into the community, there are so many businesses in New York City. Like, it's like that's the culture of New York City, the city that never sleeps, right? There's always something happening. There's the restaurant industry, there's the fashion industry, there's the entertainment industry, there's like your traditional financial service industry. Anything tech enabled, you can find it in New York City, right? And I think it gives a unique way for those businesses to now rally the troops in a different way, right? You don't just have to give a business your money in terms of payment, right? You can now invest in that business if you support them naturally, right? Like I always tell people all the time who are like, buying Starbucks regularly and like buying Nike sneakers all the time, like, well, if you're gonna put so much money into them, like I hope you're benefiting from it, right? Like, are you invested, right? This is an easy way that you can support local founders, local businesses exactly by, just putting some money up that you're already doing anyway, right? So I think bringing awareness is a huge thing, but also infiltrating those communities that exist in the ecosystem in New York City, right? Like there's so many different communities there for, African Americans, for Latinx, LGBT, like everybody that you can think of, there's a community for them in New York City, and leveraging them by educating them on like almost what they're missing out on, right? And making them feel like this is a next step and a game changer for not just you, but your whole community, right? So I think definitely taking what Wefunder is doing and posing it in a way that these communities now know how to take advantage of it is like just the biggest strategy, right? Me personally, I have a sweet spot for health and wellness and beauty, right? I think there are a lot of beauty businesses that can leverage from this. And I'm always trying to figure out, how can we scale those businesses out, right? Like, what else are they missing? And a lot of the time they're missing capital, And it's not that they need like $1 million on, a week from today, but the idea that they need some money to get them to the next point, And I think Wefunder does exactly that.
Yes. Well, I greatly appreciate everything that you have done thus far, and I'm looking forward to all the contributions that you're going to bring to the world as the ball gets rolling. Where can everyone find you now to follow along this journey, participate, and all those different things?
So I'm on Twitter. Very easy, Kemba Hall, at Kemba Hall on both Instagram and Twitter, and also LinkedIn. I'm very active on those 3 platforms.
Awesome. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. This was so much fun.
I'm glad. And everyone, I think that is all the city partners now.